Lesson, we are going to be looking at how we can solve problems by using tables and graphs to show equal ratios. And so our first problem that we're going to take a look at says, for every 4 adults at the beach one afternoon, there were 3 children. How many children were at the beach if there were 8, 12, 16, or 20 adults at the beach? And so the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and build our ratio table. And so if I have, I'll start with the very first ratio. If I have 4 adults, and I'm just going to build mine off onto the side. If I have 4 adults, I have 3 children. And then it asked for what would happen if I had 8 adults, 12 adults, 16 adults, or 20 adults. And so we're just going to go through and build our ratio. And so the big thing to look at is how our ratio pattern is going. And so in this case, our ratio is increasing by 4 each time. So in this case, it would be 4 times 2, 4 times 3. And so that'll help us when we go here. So if I did 3 times 2, I would end up with 6 here. 3 times 3, I end up with 9. 3 times 4, I end up with 12. And then 3 times 5, I end up with 16. I'm sorry, 15. I end up with 15. And so then what we're going to do is we can take that information and we can actually put this information into our graph. And so when we go ahead and we put our table into the graph, the first thing that we're going to look at is plotting those points. So this is a review skill from what we did in topic 4 and topic 5. And so the first thing we're going to do is my first coordinate is going to be that first ratio pair, which was 4, 3. The second coordinate is going to be that second ratio pair, which was 8, 6. Next ratio pair is going to be 12, 9. And then my last 2 ratio pairs are going to be 16, 12 and 20, 15. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to plot those onto the graph. And then from there, we need to go ahead and create our line and extend it. So 4, 3. So notice that they're not marked by 3. So I'm just going to go up to about that halfway point and mark it. So I'm going to do 4, 3. And then my next one that I'm going to do is going to be 8, 6. So I'm going to go find 8, 6. I'm going to mark it. So draw 8, 6, mark it. And then 12, 9. So again, I don't have a 9, so I'm just going to mark it halfway in between. And then 16, 12. So go mark that, 16, 12. And then my last one is going to be 20, 15. So again, no points. I'm going to go about halfway in between and mark them. Now, it's not enough just to plot the points on the coordinates. We have to create this as a graph. So we need to draw our line through our points. Remember, when you draw your line through your points, it needs to be done with a ruler. I'm not doing it with a ruler because I'm drawing on a screen. You are drawing on paper, so you need to extend your line the entire length of the graph, connect all of the points through, and so you can see where your graph is going to go. All right, so let's take a look at your look back. It said, Emery said that if there were 5 children for every 3 adults at the beach and there were 25 children, then there were 15 adults at the beach. Is he correct? So now we're looking at a new ratio when we come down here. The ratio that we're looking at is going to be, wrong button. The new ratio that we're going to look at is going to be 3 adults for every 5 children, and I'm extending out to where I have 25 children. So I'm going to do 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and I need to see if I end up with 25 when I do my table. So here I'm just going to double, so I end up with 10. I'm going to add another 5, 15, add another 5, that's going to be 20 and 25. So yes, he is correct. For every 15 adults, there are going to be 25 children at the beach if my ratio is 3 to 5 or 5 to 3. Okay. All right. So if we go ahead and we take a look at our next page, let's look at the problems on those pages. So it says Ellen is shopping for supplies at Jake's party store. Make a table to show how much Ellen will spend to buy 3, 6, 9, or 12 balloons, then plot the pairs on the values of coordinate graphs and use the graph to find the cost of 18 balloons. So again, remember that this is why we extend that line out so we can see and find coordinates just by using the graph. So she is looking at just balloons. So the balloons right now are a ratio of 3 to 2. And so our ratio is going to be 3 to 2 for balloons. And we need to make a table. So I have my table of 3 balloons cost $2. 6 balloons is going to cost $4. I have 9 balloons is going to cost, notice here, I'm going to be doubling. So I doubled, now multiplied by 3 is going to be $6. And then 12 balloons is going to be $8. So there's my ratio table. And then I can use these coordinates to graph it. So remember, my coordinates are going to be 3 to 2, 6 to 4, 9 to 6, and then 12 to 8 are the coordinates that I'm going to use for my table. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a look at the graph that is drawn out. So you'll notice that the plots were pointed, the line is extended all the way out, and now we have to look for the cost of, if it's going to be $18, or if I have 18 balloons, what is that cost going to be? And so we go over to the number of balloons. So we go all the way over to 18, and we go up to that point where the line that we plotted crosses, and then we scroll over and it's 12. So for 18 balloons, it's going to cost $12. So the convince me says, how can we use the graph to find the cost of 15 balloons? So the first step we're going to do is we're going to go to the number of balloons, which is 15. So again, it's about that halfway point. And then once we have that halfway point, we just extend the line up until we see where this line that was graphed intersects that 15. And so it intersects that 15 at 10. So they're going to cost of 15 balloons is going to cost $10. At our guided practice. So this table is done a little bit differently. I always find that sometimes if I do my tables vertically, I prefer it. And so this table actually is going to be a table that I prefer a whole lot more. So it says a healthy juice recipe calls for 5 celery sticks for every 2 apples. Jack has 25 celery sticks. How many apples does he need to make the juice? So we start with our original ratio. So we're starting with that 5 to 2 ratio. So for every 5 celery sticks, he's got 2 apples. And so you'll notice this right here is my original ratio. If he's got 10 apple sticks, 10 celery sticks, he's got 4 apples, 15 celery sticks, 6 apples, 20 celery sticks, 8 apples, 25 celery sticks, 10 apples. And then we're going to graph it. And so I'm going to go through, graph all of my points. And then once all of my points are graphed, I'm going to draw my line with a ruler, extend it all the way through the graph. So then I can look and say, if he has 30 celery sticks, how many apples does he have? So I go over here to 30, I bring it on up, and he's got 12 apples. Okay, all right. It says, in the example above, how could you use the graph to find the ratios of apples to 30 celery sticks? We just did that. So again, I start here at my number of celery sticks. I go all the way over to 30, and then I take my finger and I bring it all the way up to where that line intersects that point 30, and then I look over. So when I bring it back over here, it's 12. All right, complete the table to show the equivalent ratios for 3 to 8. Then write the pair of values as points to be plotted on the coordinate plane. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create my table. That works. So I have 3 to 8 is going to be my very first coordinate. And then if I do 6 let's just do 6, 9, 12, and 15. And so I'm just going up by 3 each time. So if I'm going up by 3 each time on this side, that means I'm going to go up by 8 each time on this side. So it's going to be 16, add another 8, I'm going to have 24, add another 8, I'm going to have 32, and then I'm going to have 40. And then I need to write those as ordered pairs. So my first ordered pair that I'm going to have is going to be 3, 8. My next ordered pair, remember ordered pair is written inside a set of parentheses, is going to be 6, 16. Next set of parentheses is going to be 9, 24. So next set of parentheses is going to be 12 over 32. Next set of parentheses is going to be 15. Our next coordinate pair is going to be 15 40ths. And then from there, I could build a graph and I could go ahead and graph my ratios. So looking at your independent practice, you are going to do all of your independent practice. You are going to do all. So you're doing problems 3 through 8.